Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Kerala story is already a box office success. It's made close to 50 crores in the 4 days since its release. But it has also stirred a hornet's nest, with some people accusing the film of painting an entire community or an entire state in demonic fashion. So much so, Bengal has now banned the film. In Tamil Nadu, exhibitors are not showing the movie, and in Kerala, the movie is not making any waves. But the larger question is, while this legal battle will continue, the makers of this film have approached the Supreme Court. In this day and age of OTTs, does a ban work?
के लोग इसको देखें और समझें कि हिंदुस्तान के दूसरे भूभाग में किस ढंग से हमारी बहनों के साथ अत्याचार अनाचार हो रहा है, दुर्व्यवहार हो रहा है, और सतर्कता बढ़ते हुए अपने परिवार को, अपने संस्कारों को, अपने बच्चों को संभालें।
Be it an election in the state or central election, they become more proactive in playing this religion card and divisive politics. Especially when the Karnataka election is about to be taken place.
We are not ready to show the reality. When a filmmaker comes out and says that 32 women have gone, and then comes on like a shameless fellow says that it is only 3. The controversy which has been created has created hatred, and that is what we all are facing.
I am not able to understand that for 3.5 days, if the film has done successfully and peacefully and people have loved it and emotionally connected with it on such a big level, then I don't understand how suddenly it has become a law and order disturbance.
I think it is a politically motivated, misguided decision. I request Mamta Didi that please watch the film and decide for yourself that whether this film is may pose any law and order.
So the storm over the Kerala story is not dying down. In fact, it's now moved to the highest court of the land after the West Bengal government banned the movie because they wanted to avoid any law and order incident. The filmmakers have now moved to Supreme Court challenging the ban in Bengal. Their plea also challenged the de facto ban that was imposed in Tamil Nadu. Multiplexes in Tamil Nadu have stopped screening the film after protests in a few cities. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also agreed to hear an appeal filed against the Kerala High Court's refusal to stay the screening of the film. NCP leader and former Maharashtra Minister Jitendra Awad waded into the controversy by demanding that the producer of the film be hanged in public. Awad called it a fictional movie and claimed that it was defaming the women of Kerala by first alleging that more than 30,000 had converted into Islam and had been recruited into ISIS. Meanwhile, the picture is starkly different in BJP-ruled states. The film was declared tax-free in Uttar Pradesh. UP now becomes the second state after Madhya Pradesh to make this tax-free. Several BJP ministers have watched the movie. They've endorsed it. Even the Prime Minister has referred to the movie while campaigning in Karnataka last week. First, I want to go across to the lead actor of this film, Ada Sharma. She's the lead of the Kerala story. She's now joining us. Thank you very much, Ada, for speaking with us. First things first, the reception. How has it been to your movie? Many seem to have welcomed the movie and your performance in it in particular, but a lot of people have also criticized the movie. How do you see the response over the first 3 days?
So I think that the response is phenomenal. The support and love we are getting is really unprecedented. It's amazing also because when we were promoting this film, a lot of people were asking us questions about statistics and numbers. And I kept saying, it's about human lives and it's for the pain of girls. And I was telling everyone, once you watch the film, I think the emotion is going to connect and you're going to understand the pain, and a number is not going to, that statistic is not going to be your concern when you leave the film. However, even that has been answered in the film for those who've seen it. So I think people who saw it, they got all their questions answered. Even some people who were kind of against it in the start and said how when they watched the film, they got all their answers from the numbers to lives. They felt sympathy for girls being drugged, manipulated, and they're giving those Captagon and amphetamine drugs and sent off, brainwashed, indoctrinated. So I think the audience has really been very supportive.
But how do you then see the decision by the Bengal government to ban the Kerala story? The chief minister there yesterday in a press conference saying that this could potentially lead to law and order problems and therefore the decision to ban. What would you say to that?
As far as the ban, our film was screened by the censor board, the very respected censor board who screens each film. And they are the authority. They have a whole jury who sits and screens everything, checks facts. They asked us for a lot of facts to prove that things actually happened, this, that. So all of that was done, and then only was our film passed. Even after that, when it went back, it went to the Supreme Court, then it went to the High Court, then came back to the Supreme Court. So it did all the rounds of everything. And I think after the Court of Law has okayed it and the censor board has okayed it, and your Prime Minister of the country has even said that it's a film that's against terrorism, then I find the ban really unfair.
One final word, and again, a lot of people have been criticizing this film, saying it broad brushes one entire community, it's demonizing one entire community, it's demonizing an entire state. How do you respond to that?
I don't think anyone who's watched the film has said that. I think people who've said that have said it before they've watched the film. So I would request them to really watch the film. I'm sure once they watch it, they realize it's against terrorism and then be on our side, because they'd be like, let's fight terrorism. Because I don't think anyone in our country is standing for terrorism.
Okay.
So once they watch it, they will be on our side. Then we can all fight terrorism together. The stronger we are, the better. Also, our country is a democratic country, and it's really nice that we can all have our opinions. And putting out our creativity was, well, even after it's being screened by the censor board, once it's out there, I find it really strange that then you can ban a film that was running and everything was fine. I think there were some 400 shows or something that were there, and there was no problem. Everything was going absolutely fine, and the ban was suddenly called. So I do not really understand.
All right. Adarsh Sharma, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this plays out politically, as well as, of course, in the courts of law. The filmmakers have moved to the Supreme Court asking for the ban in Bengal to be overturned. Let me now open this up to our panelists. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Member of Parliament of the BJP, is joining us. Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament of the Trinamool Congress, will also be joining us. And in some time, we'll also be going across to Sudhir Mishra, veteran film director. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, let me start with you first. The contention that was made by the Bengal Chief Minister yesterday when she announced the ban on the Kerala story was that it has the potential to create law and order problems. She says law and order is a state subject. It is up to the state governments to decide on whether a book or a movie or any work of art will lead potentially to a law and order problem, and therefore the state has decided to ban this film. It's above the remit of the censor board.
If the Chief Minister of West Bengal has said this, so it is nothing but an acceptance of the truth that the law and order is so feeble, so weak, and so dithering in West Bengal that all the Indian states can have this thing without having any sensitivity on the law and order issue, but only it is the West Bengal. So I think this is a candid acceptance of their incompetence by none other than the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Second thing, how come a movie related to terrorism becomes a law and order issue? This is, we are unable to understand. Third thing, in Kerala, they have not said that this is a law and order issue. They are making a communal allegation. But how come in Bengal it becomes a law and order issue? So I think on this issue, the government of West Bengal should make it clear. This is the technical aspect which I have said. But on the political and moral aspect, I would like to say, the utter disrespect to Islam is being done by these people. The problem is, they always try to connect the entire Muslim community with only to the criminals and the terrorists. They never try to connect them with the good people in their community. You remember in West Bengal, there was an incident in which a mob has attacked an hospital and severely injured a doctor. Then the certain Muslim intellectuals have written to Mamata Banerjee, it's around 2 or 3 years back incident, that don't connect entire community of us to the goons which have done this type of unlawful act in any hospital. But unfortunately, it is very easy, because there is a phrase that it is very easy to rise from extreme in politics. To take a support of the extremist element and get a support and then do it, and there is no problem. So nothing but on political and moral aspect, a blatant and shameful support to not only to the criminal and extremist element, but tacitly even to giving a fig leaf cover of communal politics to those who are involved in the terrorist act.
So let me ask Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament of the TMC. You know, I had the filmmaker Vipul Shah on the show yesterday, and he said normally when states want to ban a film, it's before the film releases. In this case, the film released on Friday. It ran in theatres in Bengal, including in Kolkata, on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. There was no instance of violence. There was no instance of any law and order situation. And then on Monday, the Chief Minister says we're going to ban the film because it could potentially lead to a law and order situation. How does that make any logical sense? Dr. Sen.
First of all, let me tell you the fact. Whenever there is any election knocking the door, as BJP cannot play with the developmental issues because in that field they are much behind. They always play this divisive politics and religion card. You must recall what Satyapal Malik has said, that is because of utter failure of Narendra Modi government, 40 soldiers were literally killed in Pulwama incident. You must recall the incident of Kashmir file. You just tell me, in this Kerala file, it has been portrayed that 32,000 ladies, they were missing after they were forcefully converted. But no such evidence has been given. It is absolutely a distorted story, distorted fact. And so far this banning is concerned, let me cite you some example how many movies this BJP government has banned. Sarak, My Name is Khan, and so on and so many. When this BBC said something against Mr. Narendra Modi, what did they do with BJP, with BBC? Why they discontinued the subscription for PTI? My humble submission to Mr. BJP spokesperson, can't you recall when Narendra Modi was giving speech in Rajya Sabha and the oppositions were showing protest unitedly, even immediately you censored the Rajya Sabha TV as well. Now in the freedom of speech index out of 180 countries, India ranks 162. It's a matter of great shame.
No, but Dr. Shantanu Sen, precisely because of all of those reasons, you should not ban the film. You should allow the film to be exhibited. By banning the film, how are you showing you are any different from the BJP as per your own argument?
Why there was Kashmir file just to demean the people of Kashmir at large? Why there was this Kerala file just to spread a false message before this Karnataka election, which is absolutely false incident they are showing? You just tell me few promoted and few sponsored actors and actresses, they are coming to Bengal to prepare Bengal file.
Okay.
Because BJP believes in divisive politics. BJP believes in politics with the help of religion and caste and creed.
Okay, so let me ask Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Which people of Bengal cannot allow.
Okay, the point that Dr. Shantanu Sen is making is this is being done at the behest of the BJP. BJP wants to fight election on divisive issues. It cannot fight on development narrative, and therefore, you know, you're propping up movies which are obviously Hindu-Muslim in nature to try and reap political benefits out of it.
Jakka, first of all, I would like to say Dr. Shantanu Sen is a learned member of parliament. What you are speaking, sir? First, I would like to say, how come a regional party of West Bengal has to do something in Kerala? I'm unable to understand. By which logic you are saying that a movie related to Kerala, you are having any locus standi to say when you cannot even have a 1,000 vote in Kerala? Now, on that issue that you are saying false, sir, I would like to remind, this is not a false story. V.S. Achyutanandan, the Chief Minister of Kerala, who was from Communist Party, not from BJP, he had said the word love jihad. He had said the manner in which the things are going on, in 20 years Kerala may become a Muslim state. This is the statement of the Chief Minister of Kerala, that too from the Communist Party. And second thing, It's not a haywire thing. The Kerala STF has studied 5,000 cases and they have submitted a report to the Kerala High Court. And they said that the cases doesn't seem to be the usual love affair cases. It seems to be a structured design decided by SIMI, Student for Islamic Movement in India in 1995, that the middle class and upper middle class girls of Christians and Hindu community is to be targeted. And that is mentioned in the Supreme Court of Kerala proceeding. I am quoting the date, 9th of December 2009, point number 16. The court has said that if some sections of society are saying Romeo jihad and love jihad, this is word used by Kerala High Court, and you are saying it's a flimsy. If the Chief Minister is saying that in 20 years the state can convert into an Islamic state, it means 30,000 is a very small figure.
Okay.
By 30,000 the state cannot be converted into one thing. And not only this, the Archbishop, 2 archbishops have used the word that how the Christian girls are being converted by the Islamic fundamentalists, and Archbishop has used this word of jihad. Sir, कुछ भी पता नहीं होता है, ऐसे ही आके कुछ भी बोलने लगता,
Dr. Shantanu,
and then saying the fictional this and that. I think this is not correct.
Dr. Shantanu
Any of the viewers can verify what I am saying going on the internet.
Dr. Shantanu Sen, when V.S. Achuthanandan was Chief Minister, Communist Chief Minister, in the Assembly he gave a list of 100 people who had been forcibly converted. When Oommen Chandy, the following Chief Minister, Congress Chief Minister, he gave a list of number of girls who were forcibly converted, including a list of those who had gone to Syria and Iraq forcibly to fight for ISIS. You have the Catholic Bishop Conference of Kerala coming up with the term economic jihad. A High Court judge in the Hadia case first came up with the term love jihad. Point is that if the Kerala story is supposedly demeaning Kerala or demeaning a community in Kerala, it's not banned in Kerala, but it's banned in Bengal. What sense does that make? Dr. Sen.
Prior to that, let me ask my BJP colleague, what has happened in reality in Gujarat? 40,000 women, they are missing in last 5 years. What about that? You just tell me All India Trinamool Congress doesn't think for the people of the Bengal only. It has got every right to think for the people of other parts of the country as well, who are being victimized by Bharatiya Janata Party regime. You just tell me the jury of Indian International Film Festival, he himself has said that Kashmir File was nothing but a propaganda movie. Can you deny it? The problem is nowadays nobody says that PM stands for Prime Minister. The youngsters, the students, they often say that nowadays PM stands for Publicity Master. Whenever there is an election, our learned Prime Minister becomes a daily passenger for that particular state, especially in the case of opposition ruled states, and he starts spreading this message of hatred. In Karnataka, he is saying Tugre gang. They have distributed 2.5 crore Hanuman Chalisa. They are comparing Bajrang Dal with Bajrang Bali. These all indicate that BJP is only busy doing politics with religion and caste and creed.
Okay.
That is their basic culture, because they know if they are questioned regarding development, they don't have any answer.
So you are once again, taking the political line of argument, but let me also bring in a filmmaker's view on this. Veteran film director Sudhir Mishra is now joining us. He's also been at the receiving end of censorship and things like that. Mr. Mishra, first things first, I don't know if you've seen the Kerala story. You may or may not agree with the premise or the subject of that movie, but now we have word that the West Bengal government has decided to ban it. In Tamil Nadu, multiplex owners are refusing to screen it. The question is, as a filmmaker who has faced and who has been at the receiving end of such threats and boycotts and bans in the past, what is your reading, what is your response to this decision of the Bengal government to ban the screening of the Kerala story?
Never have I even vaguely thought that anything should be banned. So many years ago, when there was a play called Me Nathuram Godse and I Adore Gandhi, but when there was calls to ban it, I said, it shouldn't be banned, and I often spoke in support of it. Just the other day, I'd be Vivek Agnihotri and I did a podcast together where we spoke that my wish, my desires, my films, my views, everything is different. But, I mean, we can have a conversation and maybe we can affect each other in some way. So I've done a conversation with Kashmir. I've just made a film called Abba, which a lot of people say is the contrary, the answer to these films. But I mean, these are just viewpoints, and I've made a film, and I hope that sort of people see it and react to it, and not necessarily like it, but get provoked by it. Maybe suggest some things to them. I mean, that's what that's what I believe, and that's what cinema should
but
do.
Mr. Mishra, oftentimes, not just in the case of the Bengal government, which decided to ban this movie yesterday, but oftentimes whenever the state decides to ban a film or a book, it cites law and order problems. And at the end of the day, filmmakers don't have to worry about, the potential violence that their work of art creates. That is the worry of the state. And that is the sole concern of the state. And if the state feels that this could lead to law and order problems, then it's within the remit of the state to decide whether or not to ban a movie. That's the argument that the Chief Minister of Bengal put forth. How do you respond to that?
No. Many years ago, Tamas was banned, so-called on Doordarshan, and the same thing was cited. But then was Justice Linton saw it and then cleared it, and I mean, no law and order situation is created as a result of people watching Tamas. I mean, I don't think people create a law and order situation.
Okay. So,
Dr. better who does.
Sure. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Dr. Sen also made this point. I think yesterday his colleague Babul Supriyo was also on the show. He also made this point that isn't it double standards of the BJP when you're attacking Mamata Banerjee for banning this film? But what happened to the BBC documentary? Unofficially, that was also taken down from all online platforms. So you can't have two different standards.
There are two things. Sir, BBC was a documentary and this is a movie. Documentary by name itself says that this is a fact. This is presentation of the fact. And all facts have been duly rejected by none other than the highest court of this country. And everything has finished after 20 years. You are trying to put forth that the entire political system, the entire legislative system, judicial system of the India was wrong. You are trying to put a mockery on it by putting it as a documentary. I think it is to be banned. And those who are putting question, I would like to remind during Indira Gandhi's era, BBC was not banned. ताला लगा दिया था और जो इंग्लैंड के थे उनको इंग्लैंड भेज दिया था वापस. बिल्कुल, put a lock on BBC office. And then they are asking about those things. But one thing, you have seen that I have put so many facts on Kerala. But Dr. Shantanu Sen has totally changed the goalpost. मतलब ये वो वाली बात हो गई कि मोहल्ले में क्रिकेट खेलते ना तो लगे आउट होने वाले तो विकेट नहीं कहीं भाग जाओ. टॉपिक ही बदल दिया. चलिए मैं उस टॉपिक पे भी आपको जवाब देने को तैयार हूं. ऐसा नहीं है सर. मुझे दुख इस बात का होता है. It is a Bengal which was a leader in the creative cinema. You know that only one lifetime Oscar award which India has gone, it is gone to Satyajit Ray. The Time magazine has given, after completing 100 years of the world cinema, they have selected 100 best movies of the world without ranking. And out of those 100 movies, 4 were the Indians. And out of that 4 Indians, 2 were the Bengali movies. One was Pather Panchali, another was other. And the great tradition from Satyajit Ray to D.K. Dev Kumar Bose to Rishikesh Mukherjee. And now the Bengali Bhadralok people has gone to that state that you are saying it should be banned despite the fact it is not banned in that home state. That shows that what pathetic level under the TMC rule they have brought the Bengal and its creative talent.
Okay.
That is my one submission. And again I would like to say, they do not have a courage to put forth on any one thing. You remember, in Malda, there was the incidents. Then Mithilesh Tiwari, he was already arrested. In UP, he was in jail. And in Malda, the mob has gherao a police chowki and they say that they want that person to be here in present and they will do the justice. And not even a single thing has been done by Trinamool Congress. And then they say, that was not a law and order problem. Now here is an imaginary law and order problem is creating. I think the people of the Bengal and the people of the country.
Can I ask
wise
Dr.
enough to
Sen,
understand what the reality
from the land of Ray, the land of Ghatak, the land of Rishikesh Mukherjee, and may I also remind you what Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said when the whole Padmavat controversy was happening. As you remember, Dr. Sen, at that time, there were sections in Rajasthan who wanted this movie to be banned. She said, and I quote, if they cannot release Padmavat in any other state, we will give it special arrangement in Bengal. Bengal will be happy and proud to do that. Now, isn't this again double standards, Dr. Sen, where on the one hand, when Hindu groups are protesting against a movie, Mamata Banerjee is welcoming it. But here, when Muslim groups are protesting against another movie, she goes ahead and bans.
Well, it's really good to see that Sudhanshu Trivedi and his party is so much scared of the regional party, according to him, All India Trinamool Congress. I would like to ask one question with all humility. Why this particular movie was made amusement tax-free in BJP-ruled Madhya Pradesh? Number one, yes, you have correctly mentioned that West Bengal happens to be the cultural capital of India. And that's why we cannot allow you to spoil this culture of West Bengal by your black hands of BJP. That's why you are protesting. Another important input, just to remind you, there was one famous singer who was boycotted in other BJP-ruled state to perform. It's Mamata Banerjee who arranged for the same, and so that after that, that particular performer could perform in our state of West Bengal. It proves West Bengal is a place where the dovetailing of religion exists. And BJP is trying to ruin this culture of India. That's why sometimes they are preparing Kashmir file, sometimes they are preparing Kerala story. Now they are in a mood to prepare Bengal story by bringing some BJP-sponsored actors and actresses. But
No,
West Bengal
I wanted to ask you about that as well.
They won't allow BJP to do this.
I wanted to ask you about that as well because today filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri has put on Twitter that he's issuing a legal notice to Mamata Banerjee because you are afraid that in his upcoming movie, which by the way is not called Bengal Files, it's called the Delhi Files, there would be something that is not particularly charitable to the ruling dispensation in Bengal. Dr. Sen.
Yeah, the legal issue will be tackled legally, don't worry.
Okay.
But we just cannot allow BJP to spoil this cultural harmony in our state of West Bengal as they are doing in other states.
Okay. Sudhir
This is
Mishra,
for sure.
again, I'm coming back to it from a filmmaker's point of view. When you're faced with such a storm, when you have some sections saying that this movie should not be released, this movie should be banned, and a state government has acted upon that, can filmmakers in this day and age turn to OTT or to YouTube, release your movies online? Because you can't ban stuff from being viewed on OTT or online. We have seen other sort of movies being released these days on OTT. I mean, a state government certainly can't ban a film if it's released on Netflix or Amazon or any other streaming platform. Would that be a sort of a, if for nothing else, some kind of an insurance cover for filmmakers?
Before that, you just asked Mr. Sudhanshu.
No,
I want to ask Sudhir Mishra, please.
Possible because they get a OTT release, and so I mean, because films cost money, and you need a revenue model there, you need a return on investment at least partially. So I mean, OTT is one way. I don't know if I have no idea whether you can sort of monetize a film on YouTube, but that may be the future. And but why not cinema? Cinema is public spaces. What is a cinema hall? It's a public space. It's like town hall, right? It's like anything where people go to be entertained, laugh, maybe provoked, maybe educated, maybe whatever. I think it's a sacred space where there shouldn't be any tax, anything, and people should come and see films, theater, performances. There should be. This is a community experience is very good. So I will go and see Kerala story, and with people on Kashmir Files, and I've seen Kashmir Files. So and I hope people go and see Appa. I think the theatrical experience, at least OTT is brilliant, and I made films like for instance, Serious Men on Netflix, that was only possible because that kind of film was only possible because of OTT. And because of Netflix at the budget that we made it, because it required a certain budget. So, I mean, OTT is, of course, one solution and a great one. Streaming and the quality of streaming is going up. So, I mean, very soon people will stream in houses and halls and the community experience will come back again.
So, Sudhanshu
technology you can't beat, right?
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Sudhanshu Trivedi and then Dr. Sen. Sudhanshu Trivedi, this was said of Kashmir Files. This is now being said of Kerala Story as well. The states on which this subject is based, in the case of Kashmir Files, Kashmir, in the case of Kerala Story, Kerala, in those states, these movies have had no resonance, have had no, popular support, but it is being made for the rest of India in a way that it demonizes sections within that state. How do you respond to that, Dr. Trivedi?
Sir, how can anybody say that Kashmir Files was not having popular support among Kashmiris? For the first time in the last 1 year, the movies have started. Otherwise, in Kashmir Valley, it was not. All movie theaters were closed. In Jammu, it is done exceedingly well. And you talk about the all Kashmiri migrant population or in various parts of the country, what they have expected and how they have expressed this thing. So that's why we are saying that it is very unfortunate that if some real thing has come out, the people try to cover up. I would like to answer what Shantanu Sen ji has said. Why in our governments it is being made tax-free?
Yeah.
Why? Because this movie is giving an education to the girls and their families to be vigilant and to be very careful and strictly vigilant on whatever is happening here and there. So it is like when during your tenure, when terrorism was at rampage, in any of the railway station or the bus station or the airport or the public park, there uses to be a signboard, don't touch this, there can be an explosive. If you see any empty bag, don't touch it. It was not to create a fear, sir. It was to create a vigilance. It was to create an alertness. So that's why alertness is required to stop the further damage and distortion of the communal harmony and the expanse of terrorism which may likely to take place. Okay. That's why we are doing this.
Dr. Shantanu Sen, final word. Again, I come back to this
point. And on one more thing I would like to add, Jaka.
Okay. Yeah, quickly, please. Yeah.
In days of technological advancement, if anybody thinks that any state government can ban, it's not possible. After a few weeks, it will be available on any of the one of the OTT platform. And sir, 83 crore smartphone users are there in this country. 83 crores. Broadband connections are also 83 crores. But we know that your intent is not to ban. Your intent is to just to satisfy the whims of a fundamentalist section of the Muslims.
Okay.
And you have served that purpose politically very well.
Dr. Sen,
know that you cannot do it, and your intent was also not to ban.
Dr. Sen, it comes back to this very, very limited point, but a pertinent point to this case, which is that these are stories that were hushed under the carpet because people were trying to be politically correct or people did not want to present the other side of the story. Now suddenly it's coming out to the fore through films and other works of art, and that is making people of the left liberal class uneasy.
Right to that, I am not ready at all to listen to a person talking about education representing a party which is totally distorting the Indian history. The party which is totally deleting the Mughal dynasty from Indian history. The party which is not allowing the students to study Charles Darwin. The party who is distorting the Indian education system as a whole. They don't have any right to speak about Indian education.
Okay.
What education you are talking about?
So move on to the question I asked you, sir, please.
Divisive politics. Are you in a mood to do politics with religion card only?
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Dr. Shantanu Sen, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi and Sudhir Mishra, thank you very much for joining us. Let's see how this story plays out. One thing is very, very clear. This movie is a big box office success, no doubt about it. It was a small budget movie. It's made way more than what its budget was. And I think it's because of word of mouth that a lot of publicity for this film and a lot of curiosity value around this film. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't think a ban in this day and age of OTT and YouTube and other online streaming platforms, a ban necessarily works. This may have been done for other reasons, not necessarily cinematic, but we will see. how the story plays out both in the movie.